he was a superstar boxer, right, in terms of boxing ability, he wouldn't be in there because no one would want to fight him. What would be the point?
Hi guys, we want you to share our content. Simply like, subscribe or follow our channels on all social media outlets. The more people you tag, the more posts you make, the more chance you've got of winning. We're giving away 5 $50 prizes. Get boxing.
Hi, it's Andy here from FighterstalkTV with Eddie Hearn's T-Boy. Apparently it was so not so long ago. Frank Smith, how are you, sir?
I'm good. I'll go and make you one if you want. I'll show you the skill and ability of what got me to this position of Master T-Boy.
And of course you landed a great deal with Rakuten. I mean, we work with them in our other business as well, so fantastic for Matchroom in that respect, so sort of more of a global presence. And it just means, I think, for us and you, next year, crazy busy.
Yeah, no, for sure. Look, we're doing, I think close this year we do 35, 36 shows. Next year the aim is to get that up to 40, maybe 44. Can't do much more than that. You know, there's only a few weekends then you can have off and relax. But the key is for us is that international growth and delivering for our fighters the best possible opportunities, whether that be UK, US, Mexico, Japan. You know, we're in 5 countries in the next 9 weeks.
I would say we feel sorry for you in all your travel, but all these lovely journeys you go on, all the professional fights, we don't really. But I mean, we've looked at it. What a stacked card for DAZN, delivering value for money for consumer, we believe as well.
Yeah, look, it's a great card on Saturday night. Obviously, the main event, you know, Jack Catterall against Jorge Linares. Jorge Linares has come here to win. You see that. You see him in the shape he's in with the team he's got around him. He's come here to win on Saturday night. Jack Catterall, he's got, you know, this is the time in his career, the most important period of his career. Goes on from here. There's mega fights to be made, whether that be a 140 world title shot, whether that be the Josh Taylor fight, which is a massive fight to be made. You know, look, there's exciting opportunities. And then the undercard, Peter McGrail, who we believe is one of the best prospects, you know, coming through, who recently signed across from the GB squad. You know, he's been unlucky out for a while, but he's got a tough step-up test against Fran Mendoza. You've got Shabazz Massoud making his debut on a Matchroom show. You've got Aqib Fiaz against Reece Bellotti. I think it's going to be an absolute war. Jack Turner's sold 1,000 tickets. You've got William Crowley. You've got Khalil Majid against Tom Farrell. You've got Paddy Lacey's on the card. Muhammad Ali's on the card.
Campbell
Hatton's on the card. It's stacked top to bottom. And like I say, you know, it's an exciting night. Huge ticket sales as well. So it's going to be round out in the M&S Arena.
Yeah, definitely. So talk about Jack Catterall versus Jorge Linares. How do you see that fight played out? Because it's very, very interesting. 3-time former world champion. How do you see it? I mean, obviously we want Jack to win, but how do you see that playing out?
Yeah, look, I think, you know, I was surprised actually with Jack having so long out the ring. Like, you know, I think he had 20 odd months out the ring from the Josh Taylor fight when he had the Darragh Foley fight, you know, when he signed across to us in May. And I was so surprised by how good he looked in there. Like, you would have thought with that ring rust, that amount of time out the ring, but he looked like he'd had no break. And I think you're going to see an even, you know, an advanced and more an improved Jack Catterall on Saturday night as well. But Jorge Linares, you know, multiple-time world champion. He's a special fighter, and he doesn't look like someone who's come here to take the money and retire. He's taking it seriously. He's got a proper team around him, and he looks in tremendous shape. As I say, I think we're in for an intriguing fight, and I can't wait to see it.
No, absolutely. I mean, he brought a lot of people along with him to the press conference today. So
never a good sign.
No, not really. It's a big bill to pay, I think, when it gets to the flights from there. So let's move away from that. I want to go back to last weekend. No, not the weekend we just had. Obviously, we'll talk about that in a minute. But the Josh Warrington-Lee Wood fight, what a fantastic fight. Josh Warrington looked at $1 million in that, and is obviously calling for the rematch. Do you see that happening? I know Lee's now stepped up and relinquished his belt. Where do you see it going for both fighters?
Yeah, look, I see that being firstly, unbelievable fight. You know, it's the kind of fights we need to make, and it's the kind of fight the sport needs to make to continue the growth. It's not rocket science, people want to see good fights. And look, Lee Wood's gone on a run of, you know, Kanzu, Michael Conlon, Maurizio Lara, Josh Warrington. And that's why he's built the following he's built, and that's why people are getting behind him. Because, you know, losing a fight isn't the end of the world these days. That's just the truth of it. People want to see proper fights. People want to see entertainment, and those guys give it. You know, that's why we had a packed-out house in there, because those two guys throughout their career have shown that they're willing to do that. I believe that's a fight that can be made. You know, look, Josh Warrington was obviously well ahead on the scorecards. caught with some big shots, questions around the stoppage, but that's a natural rematch to be made. It's a huge fight. We've been speaking to the City Ground about dates that work for them. Hopefully have some news on that soon, and that's that's one of the focuses, is to look at making that rematch. There's other options as well. I was talking whether it be obviously Joe Cordina, his fights in Monaco on November 4th, or whether it also be Michael Conlon, who fights Jordan Gill December 2nd. There's big fights to be made, but the key is to deliver a huge opportunity for Lee Wood in front of his home fans at the City Ground. He's been calling for it for a long, long time, and he's done all the work to deserve to be in that position.
Absolutely, and with Josh Warrington looked really spiteful at the beginning of that, and it shocked us as we were looking at it. I thought Lee would have been able to come out and do a bit more dominant, but he was far more spiteful and aggressive than we thought he would actually come out. So obviously he gave a really good account of himself and got a lot to look forward to, I think.
100%. Look, Josh Warrington's done so much for British boxing. Look at the nights he's delivered, over the years for British boxing, the sellout crowds he's delivered, and he's still got much more to give. Like I say, was ahead on those scorecards, looked, was boxing fantastically. Got caught with some big shots though, and when you fight the best, when you go in there and take on the best, that's what can happen. Everyone knew Lee Wood has that power. But he seemed to be it was slipping away from him, that fight, but he pulled it back, as he does. So, Josh Warrington, all credit to him, because he takes proper fights, and he's given so much to the sport, and I think that's a natural fight to try and look at making, is that rematch. Absolutely.
So I want to move on to what we think has been a bit of a disastrous weekend coming off. I want to try and get your opinion on whether it's now time to say this isn't really boxing, to stop putting boxing in it. It's been more like a WWE presentation, but I want to give massive kudos to Tommy Fury purely because he's taking the fight for the money, sorting his family life out. What do you make on what happened? I mean, we spoke to Michael Bisping. He said it was an absolute robbery, and he said the fans were robbed as opposed to each other. What do you think on the weekend's action?
Firstly, I have all respect for Tommy Fury, because he's going out there as anyone would, and he's making the best opportunity for his life and making the most amount of money possible. And we would all do that in whatever walk of life. If someone says you can go and do this, and it's probably easier than doing this, and you make 5, 10, 20, 30 times the money, okay, thank you very much, where do I go? If you
give me the document
now, I'll go there now. And he's done tremendously well. So people are going to say what they want, but all that matters is he's building a life for himself, and fair play. I'd love to look like Tommy Fury with his bank account.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. Mainly the body. That's what I meant. But when it comes to misfits, I actually think it's good for the sport, long term, because these guys and girls have huge followings, right? Huge followings. And if that means people are going to go into the gym off the back of that, you might not watch it as a traditional boxing fan. You might watch it and go, that fight's a load of shit. That's the reality, right? But it's not for me, it might not be for you, it might not be for this boxing fan here, it's for a different audience. And if a different audience watch that and go, oh, I really like boxing, I'm going to go down the gym and have a go, right? And if that brings in another 300,000 participants of boxing a year in boxing gyms, that's brilliant. I don't know, making up numbers. Whatever the number is, if that brings in a new audience who in the long term, 10 years, 10 years down the line, tune in to watch a Catterall Linares show, great. I also think it puts us more pressure on us to do a great job and keep building sport boxing. And I think the key is here. Now, we can look at all these ways of building personalities are important, and that's what they've got there. But every fight they have has its own story. From the bottom to the top. That's why the venues are packed, because every fight has its own story. And the reality is, sometimes it's two donkeys, but two donkeys make an exciting fight. I'm much rather, right, if I'm a 15-year-old kid, right, and I'm flicking through the channels, and I go on and I'm at You're Cool, and it's 500 people in there in a 6-rounder with a geezer fighting a journeyman, and it's the most boring fight ever. That isn't going to drive me to keep watching the content or go to the gym. If I'm tuning in and there's 20,000 people in an arena screaming, and there's two people going at it, I'm going to watch it. And it's simple, isn't it? It may not, I think you have to section it. It may not, like, no one's forcing you to watch it. And I think if it brings a new audience, great. And if it puts pressure on boxing promoters to deliver and improve the sport, great. And I think when it comes down to it, we just need to deliver better fights. And we've been doing it. You know, you look, Lee Wood against Josh Warrington, brilliant fight. I think Jack Catterall against Linares will be a brilliant fight. I think Chantel Cameron, Casey Taylor's a brilliant fight. I think Jesse Rodriguez against Sonny Edwards is a brilliant fight. I think Regis Prograde, Devin Hay. That's all it takes. Big fights sell. Big fights, you know, a bit of spite sells. And that's what we need to do. So, you know, I think it's good.
So if you were Tommy Fury right now and you were advising Tommy Fury right now, would you be saying, okay, Tommy, now time, go back in, follow your brothers, build your own legacy, or stay where you are?
Stay where you are.
And that decision will be based on?
Because he's making an absolute fortune and not really risking much in terms of the fights. You know, he's fighting YouTubers. Like, and there's no disrespect to KSI, like they take it, like, fair play, they take it seriously, they train hard, but do that all day long. What is the point of coming, like, if you can do that, fair play to him. And he's not, if he was a superstar boxer, right, in terms of boxing ability, he wouldn't be in there because no one would want to fight him. What would be the point? He's at the level where he's acceptable enough, right, to be like, would he win a Southern Area title? You know, maybe not a Southern Area title, but would he win a title in professional boxing?
Do you see him in the likes of Bivol or in the likes of Jay Opataya, the fight between him and Jordan Thompson?
That's the reality. And if he was in those levels, he wouldn't be on Misfits because no one would stand a chance against him. That's the reality. So keep doing what he's doing. Fair play to him. All respect, and I wish I was representing Tommy Fury.
Yeah, nice 10% would go down really well.
Yeah, I'll take 5.
There you have it. There's an exclusive there. Well, Frank, thanks very much for that. We're looking forward to the fight on Saturday, and very much we'll be staying tuned in. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, thanks.
Cheers.
Cheers, thanks.